Good evening, one and all. We welcome you all to the International Webinar Series on Holistic Health, Well-being and Sustainable Development 2025, commemorating Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, nation celebrating 77 years of independence and United Nations Sustainable Development Goals 2015 to 2030. As part of awareness and campaigns in collaboration with Sri Holistic Health Foundation India and Sri Research Institute Center for Arts, Sciences and Wellbeing. Before we start our sessions, let's take the blessings of Almighty.
कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शत्रुबुद्धिविनाशाय दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः
With the blessings of Almighty, we shall continue with today's commemorations. Today, we are celebrating Pluto Day on February 18th every year to commemorate the anniversary of the discovery of Pluto in 1930. The Pluto, known for its characteristic icy mountains and tiny size, was discovered by American astronomer Clyde Tombaugh and up until 2006 was considered one of the 9 planets in the solar system. Together with Mercury, Venus, our current planet Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune. Clyde discovered Pluto at the Lowell Observatory in Flagstaff, Arizona, just 84 years after the discovery of Neptune. Of course, this is Western perspective, but our sages have discovered long back, and even we see various scriptures, there is a mention of 9 planets. Already, even before the modern science have taken birth. So Pluto is celebrated annually to commemorate the anniversary of the discovery of Pluto in 1930. Although Pluto was discovered in 1930, the story of its discovery started in 1840 after French astronomer Urbain Le Verrier sensed that there was a planet outside the Uranus due to irregularities in its orbit. His intuition led him to develop mathematical calculations to explain the discrepancies of Uranus' orbit in relation to the laws of planetary motion and gravity, which led to the eventual discovery of Neptune. After Neptune was discovered, an event that is widely regarded as the validation of a subset of an astronomy practice called celestial mechanics. It was then realized that there was yet another planet disturbing Uranus' orbit, since the irregularity in its orbit continued. So this then led to the search for Pluto, initially called Planet X, being headed by Percival Lowell, whose death would later see the search for Pluto pass to Clyde Tombaugh, who eventually discovered. So the planet, which was named after the Roman god of the underworld, was considered one of the 9 planets in the solar system up until 2006. The International Astronomical Union reduced its status and tagged it as a dwarf planet due to not meeting the criteria to be considered a full size planet and being 2/3 of the size of the Earth. And it is believed that the first 2 letters in Pluto were in honor of Percival Lowell, whose belief that there were other planets beyond Neptune helped fuel the drive that led to its discovery. So, watching a documentary about Pluto is perhaps the closest thing to traveling to the planet or celebrating it here on Earth. There are several documentaries like The Year of Pluto, Mission Pluto, or Chasing Pluto that all provide a great way to escape to the planet and see what it's like through the eyes of astronauts. You might even share your opinion about any of these documentaries. Another interesting way to celebrate Pluto Day is to dive into astronomy books and research papers that talk about the properties of various planets in our universe and what life looks like on every planet. You may even visit the National Aeronautics and Space Administration NASA website or ISRO website or ESA website or any other website in your country to learn about its ongoing missions. On Pluto Day, planetariums, observatories, and other places that study the solar system would typically hold special events. However, you might find a greater interest in setting up your own telescope to probe through the night sky to outer space if you can find known planets or even discover one for yourself. So, according to astronomers, the dwarf planet has 5 orbiting satellites. Pluto's atmosphere is said to consist mostly of nitrogen gas. Pluto is 40 times farther away from the sun than the Earth, making it orbit slow. The hour it needs to complete orbit is equivalent to 6.4 Earth days or 153.3 hours long. Pluto might have been named after the founder of the Astronomical Observatory. It was discovered in Lowell Observatory and Pluto. The planet is said to have been named after the Roman god of the underworld, Pluto, based on the suggestion. Based on the suggestion of 11-year-old girl from Oxford, England. So Pluto Day represents a reminder of the importance of the ancient practice of astronomy. The day aims to drive the interest of younger Americans to study astronomy through curiosity, about the outside world. It serves the day as the day when everyone is reminded of the advances in knowledge of our universe that has been possible through the discipline. So, although as humans we like to think we are living at the edge of space making, comments like satellite is out in space, the Earth is, in fact, part of the space we are currently in it. Pluto Day provokes this kind of reflection of our existence in this world. On Pluto Day, many more people typically realize how lucky we are that Earth, one of the many planets in the galaxy, just so happens to be hospitable for life as we know it today, in contrast to the hostile and merciless environment of other planets in our galaxy. This day serves as a reminder of how precious our planet is amongst others in the universe. Today is also commemorated as Travel Africa Day on February 18th every year in Central African Republic, an informal promotional day event launched by Social Media Week Lagos on 3rd or 4th Tuesday of February. So this year it takes place on this day. The day aims to create awareness and promote travel in the African continent. The event showcases the African continent as a travel destination, highlighting Africa's wildlife and rich cultures. Travel Africa Day offers information panels and consultations by travel bloggers and companies. The information provided covers the financial and aesthetic aspects of travel in Africa. The day forms part of the Social Media Week annual event and attracts change makers from various African countries. In 2016, Social Media Week SMW Lagos launched the Travel Africa Day in Lagos, Nigeria. The Travel Africa Day event is held on Tuesday of the 5-day conference in Lagos. Dragon Africa and Africa's 21 curate Social Media Week. Lagos is one of the largest tech events in Africa. The Travel Africa Day, held in 2016, was hosted by Emera Suits, Africa 21, and Rhino. The event trended with the hashtag Travel Africa Day. The focus of Travel Africa Day is to promote travel and tourism to cities and countries across the continent of Africa and celebrate the African experience. Travel Africa Day uses multiple social platforms to promote Africa as a continent and expand conversations about travel across and within Africa. It also highlights the potential for travel to become a revenue source for all 54 countries on the continent. The success of first global event across Africa in 2016 gathered the interest and attention of sponsors such as Facebook and Nestle. The 2016 SMW event alone boosted over 60,000 participants and a social media reach of 8-10 million. A little over 5 years have passed since SMW Lagos launched Travel Africa Day. Significant progress in promoting travel within Africa has been made, and travel destinations such as Kenya, Egypt, and Seychelles, to name a few, are some of the growing hotspots for tourists in Africa. Africa is a perfect destination for adventure, gorgeous landscapes, and wildlife. So go ahead, pack your bags, and head to exciting Africa. The world's largest river, the Nile, is in Africa. Africa is the second largest continent in the world by population and landmass. The African continent is made up of 54 countries in total. Africa is known for the famous Big Five: lion, leopard, elephant, rhino, and buffalo. The hottest country in the world is Mali in West Africa. Travel aids self-development. Travel allows for social interaction and helps refresh one's mind and outlook on life. Ultimately, travel helps with self-development. Travel and tourism are economic boosters. Traveling generates revenue that builds and develops countries that we travel to. Travel exposes you to new foods, culture, and tradition. It helps foster new relations and gain an appreciation for other cultures. Today is also commemorated as Thumb Appreciation Day in US on February 18th. Occurs annually to celebrate a part of our body we often times don't think much about and even take for granted, our thumb. It is meant to be the day to show a little appreciation for it, considering the thumb is known to be one of the most important digits. Without our thumb, many things that are required for our daily survival, like zipping the cloth that protects us from dust and snows, would be nearly impossible. A body part so useful that it would have been near impossible to grasp things more easily, pick small objects up, eat with one hand, and do so many other things without it. Our thumbs are the reason we operate heavy tools that help us exploit the resources on earth. It further affirmation of how important the thumb is. Medical professionals all agree that if we are to lose one of all our fingers, the index finger is the best one we lose. So made up of two bones, human thumbs are often called opposable thumbs because they can be stretched opposite other fingers in order to help grip things easily. And they are known to have coordinated set of motions like translating, rotating, flexing, and that all help in everyday needs like penning an essay, churning a nut, picking up a coin, or buttoning a shirt, and so on. The medical Latin English word for thumb is pollex. The word thumb is believed to have come from the Proto-Indo-European term meaning to swell, which makes the thumb the swollen one. According to medical practitioners, the reason they take a pulse with the middle and index finger is that there is a big artery in the thumb, which makes it difficult to feel a pulse in the neck with the thumb. So according to the medical practitioners, thumbs can be rebuilt from any of the patient with toes. According to the American Medical Association, thumbs are so important that a complete amputation will result in 40% impairment to the whole hand. Today is also commemorated as Gambia Independence Day in Gambia on February 18 to mark the anniversary of the Gambia's liberation from British Empire. After centuries of colonization and exploitation, the Gambia finally gained the right of self-governance on February 18, 1965. The day also marks the end of British colonization of West Africa and new dawn for subcontinent. The day is also public holiday and celebration are observed across the nation. Marches are held in McCarthy Square in Banjul and civil dignitaries offer their salutations in front of President. So Independence Day is an annual celebration that marks the start of Gambian self-governance and absolute sovereignty from Britain in 1960. Located on the west coast of Africa, Gambia is the smallest country in mainland Africa. It has strong multicultural society of diverse ethnic groups, and every Gambian can speak an average of 4 languages. The people of Gambia are known for their resilience and other admirable qualities despite intense political turmoil. and economic stability, the citizens work together to earn an honest day's bread and contribute to the country's prosperity. Today is also commemorated as Cow Milk While Flying in an Airplane Day in US. On February 18th, annually to commemorate the day, a cow named Nellie J, which later became Elm Farm Oli, became the first cow to be flown and milked in an airplane. The event was part of a scientific effort to study the effect of height on cow's ability to produce milk. In the 72-mile flight over Bismarck, Missouri, Oli's milk was put in a paper cartridge and parachuted down to the spectators to generate publicity. The trip was also meant to show the ability of the new Ford tri-motor aircraft that had only just begun shipping after its production began in 1920. On February 18, 1930, a Jersey cow named Nellie J, sometimes known as Elm Farm Oli, was flown from Bismarck, Missouri on a Ford tri-motor plane to the International Aviation Exhibition in St. Louis as part of scientific effort to study whether height affects cow's ability to produce milk. Oli was known as a high milk producing cow and was chosen entirely because of her calm nature. Proceeding the milking process on 72-mile flight over Missouri, milk cartons made of paper on parachutes were let down to spectators to create publicity. Also, the trip was meant to show the ability of the new Ford tri-motor aircraft that had only just begun shipping after its production began in 1925. According to historians, the purpose of the trip was to prove to farmers that farm animals can be flown from one place to another and be milked en route. However, spectators in the farming industry noted that the practice of shipping animals via air freight rather than overland never truly caught on. Regardless, everyone agreed that the feat Oli the cow achieved is worth memorializing and occasionally honoring. Hence, the reason for cow milk while flying on an airplane began on February 8. Cows are incredible animals. They provide our best source of calcium and important nutrients to the milk they produce. To celebrate and honor the memory of Elm Farm Oli, get a nearby farm to learn how to milk a cow. Cow chew about 50 times in 1 minute, which adds up to an incredible 40,000 times per day. Before the animal gives birth, it is called a heifer, and after giving birth, she then becomes a cow. Cows only eat grass and grain and are not fed any type of meat. They are pure vegetarians. Cows do not enjoy being on their own. They are social animals. Cows love company. Cows can see color and even Red Bulls charge at the moment of a flag instead of the common belief that they charge at the color red. So red's got nothing on cows. So since having the right temperament was crucial for whichever cow was to be chosen for the flight, it was decided Oli was the right candidate. Without her calmness, we might not have figured out if it's possible to fly and milk animals in planes. Elm Farm Oli's feat inspires us to look forward on the various air shows that happen year round. Perhaps it's because her 72-mile trip was part of International Air Exposition in St. Louis, Missouri. The importance of the protein and other nutrients that cow milk gives us was reinforced with the gesture to seal it in paper containers and throw milk down to spectators during the flight. Each cow milk while flying in an airplane day serves as a reminder to appreciate milk more. Today is also commemorated as National Battery Day in US. We have batteries that keeps us connected without a direct power source. We can watch TV, use our phones and other mobile devices, and light up the bulbs without relying on a power source. Without them, we wouldn't be able to use our phones without electricity. You wouldn't be reading this or listening to this or watching this without batteries. So imagine working on a huge project on a desktop with a battery. Yes, it is dangerous if you do not have an alternative power source, seamless flow. Batteries have been in use since the 19th century. It was first created when Italian scientist Alessandro Volta layered silver separated by paper and dipped in salt or acid and zinc to form the voltaic piles in 1800. These piles generated electric current. This paved way for evolution, as in 1802, William Cruikshank designed a battery for mass production. Corrosion remained a critical impediment until the Daniell cell came along. It was invented by John Daniell, a chemist who received accolades for his invention, which reduced corrosion when storing batteries. Afterward, Columbia, the first commercially available battery, was introduced by the National Carbon Company in 1896, bringing the 4D battery created for flashlights 2 years later. Batteries were later introduced to watches and clocks and are now used for diverse purposes. Batteries are used in almost anything driven by electricity. It is found in automobiles, mobile phones, desktops, televisions, radios, circulators, machinery, solar panels, power banks, remote controls, and down to your alarm clock. Ensure you read the instructions on batteries before use. For efficient batteries, keep them at room temperature or lower. This reduces the rate of chemical activity within the batteries. Do not store old and new batteries together. Do not store your batteries in a metal container, and remember to keep them from humidity. Do not puncture or damage batteries. Recycle lithium and button batteries, alkaline, manganese, and carbon zinc batteries can be disposed of with the trash. So yesterday we have missed few commemorations. So World Human Spirit Day is commemorated on February 17th every year internationally to encourage mindfulness through meditation to get us to form the habit constant reflection as a way to feel content in our pressure-filled society. So according to Daniel Helminak, it is respected philosopher in the space of spirituality. The spirit is a mental function of awareness, insight, understanding, judgment, and other reasons. In Christianity, it is emphasized that the human spirit is a real person, the essential part of our existence. World Human Spirit Day aims to help strengthen the connection to our spiritual self as a way to stay grounded, even amid societal pressure. The day seeks to help strengthen the connection to our spiritual self as a way to stay grounded, even amid societal pressure. World Human Spirit Day is a day to search for contentment from within, to embrace the fact that we do not have all the answers. A day to give some higher power thanks for what we have and are yet to have, and is typically observed to promote value of mental peace and satisfaction in our lives. Today, 17th February is also commemorated as National Cabbage Day in US. The use of cabbage dates back to 4000 BC with origins in Asia, especially North China and the East Mediterranean region of Europe. The Brussels sprouts, broccoli, cauliflower, bok choy, kohlrabi, and kale are considered part of the cabbage family. Cabbage is a staple in European and Indian cuisine. The West-style cabbage brings a variety of flavors to the dinner table and can be prepared in many different ways, such as pickled, sauteed, stewed, etc. You can either eat it raw, steam it, boil it, bake it, braise it, or fry it. You can even ferment it to enjoy it in future. In Rome, cabbage was considered a luxury food when compared with other vegetables. According to tales, Diogenes, the Greek philosopher, ate nothing but cabbage and drank nothing but water. In ancient China, cabbage was sold as a magic cure for baldness. To date, it was made on November 8, 2014, the largest cabbage dish in the Romanian city of Kaufland, weighing 6,525.68 grams. Cabbage was used to prevent hangovers, used in ancient Rome and Egypt as a food eaten before a night of drinking to help with tomorrow's hangover. Cabbage is packed with nutrients, is a good source of vitamin C. Studies suggest that they also may help lower cholesterol levels and reduce inflammation. Because cabbage is rich in fiber, it may improve digestion and keep the heart healthy as well. Cabbage comes in variety of colors, textures, and shapes. Although cabbage can be eaten raw, it can be prepared in different ways such as steaming, boiling, baking, frying, or pickling. Be it a side of coleslaw or yummy cabbage rolls, there's a dish for everyone to enjoy. February 17th is also commemorated as Family Day in Canada. Though it's not technically a national, federally mandated holiday, but most Canadians live in areas that celebrate as it is a province level statutory holiday. In British Columbia, Alberta, Ontario, New Brunswick, and Saskatchewan as Family Day. In Manitoba as Louis Braille Day. In Nova Scotia as Nova Scotia Heritage Day. On Prince Edward Island as Islander Day. For our purpose, we'll refer to as Family Day. So Alberta was the first province to observe Family Day back in 1990. As the next few years ensued, Saskatchewan and Ontario followed the suit. In 2012, British Columbia followed as well, changing the date of its celebration from 2nd to 3rd Monday in February. A few years later, to match the date of neighboring provinces' observations, New Brunswick announced its day in 2018. Manitoba, PEI, and Nova Scotia joined the party in 2007, 2009, 2013, respectively. In Yukon, the already existing Yukon Heritage Day was considered close enough to the calendar, so the new family holiday that no changes were made. So there are no established traditions surrounding Family Day as there are for Christmas or New Year, for example. But the name implies many Canadians take advantage of the 3-day weekend in February to spend extra time with loved ones. Road trips, winter sports, outings, and extended family gatherings are all popular ways to observe the holiday. Celebrates find ways to overcome the cold that have a warm and cozy family day. Today is also, February 17th is also commemorated as Global Tourism Resilience Day. Tourism supports millions of direct and indirect jobs all over the world, in particular for women and young people. For some small island states and developing countries, tourism accounts for over 20% of gross domestic product. The economic contribution of tourism direct GDP was estimated at $1.9 trillion in 2021, higher than $1.6 trillion recorded for 2020, but still well below the pre-pandemic value of $3.5 trillion. For many developing countries, including the least developed countries, small island developing states, or countries in Africa and middle income countries, tourism is a major source of income, foreign currency earnings, tax revenue, and employment. Because tourism connects people with nature, sustainable tourism has a unique ability to spur environmental responsibility and conservation. Sustainable tourism, including ecotourism, is a cross-cutting activity that can contribute to the three dimensions of sustainable development and the achievement of sustainable development goals by fostering economic growth, elevating poverty, creating full and productive employment, and decent work for all. It can also play a role in accelerating the change to more sustainable consumption and production patterns and promoting the sustainable use of oceans, seas, and marine resources, promoting local culture, improving the quality of life and the economic empowerment of women and young people, indigenous peoples, and local communities, and promoting rural development and better living conditions for rural populations, including smallholder and family farmers. The use of sustainable and resilient tourism as a tool to foster sustained and inclusive economic growth, social development, and financial inclusion enables the formalization of the informal sector, the promotion of domestic resource mobilization and environmental protection, and the eradication of poverty and hunger, including the conservation and sustainable use of biodiversity and the natural sources, and the promotion of investment and entrepreneurship in sustainable tourism. Global Tourism Day, 17th February, proclaimed by the General Assembly in Resolution 77 by 269, aims to emphasize the need to foster resilient tourism development to deal with shocks, taking into account the vulnerability of the tourism sector to emergencies. It also a call for action for member states to develop national strategies for rehabilitation after disruptions, including through private-public cooperation and diversification of activities and products. So with this, we shall end today's commemorations. Thank you everyone for joining us on today's commemoration. See you all tomorrow at the same time. Before leaving, we request everyone to quickly fill up the feedback form, which has been raised in the form of. So see you all tomorrow. Take care. Good night.